From KMUW Wichita,
From Toronto, Ontario,
and from Armilla, Spain,
this is You're Saying It Wrong. Let's talk words. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Ross. We
hi,
are
Fletcher.
now in lovely autumn. Have things cooled down for the two of you? Ross, I don't need to hear from you. It's always cool there. Kathy.
Ross is the coolest. It's down now just to the 80s, so it's very pleasant. I'm not wearing tank tops anymore. I'm just wearing t-shirts. This is huge. This is huge.
Well, I'm going to pump in here because yesterday it was 80 degrees here.
Oh.
And I had the AC blasting.
We're like sitting in the Tanatsa going, oh, it's so nice and cool.
We went outside and everyone in town was going, wow, it's so hot. So whatever.
Well, we're going to have fun with some word origins I have learned today. But first, we'll take a quick detour to another listener pet peeve.
This is a pet peeve from Scott. We don't know where Scott's from. I don't know Scott. Well, he just said Scott. So he said, I have several English language pet peeves. You're just like us, Scott. But the one that currently jumps out at me and makes me crazy is using more and most with adjectives that should just end in or est. I was taught that some adjectives are modified with est, such as nice, nicer, nicest, while others are modified with more and most, like intelligent, more intelligent, most intelligent. But it seems that nowadays people use more and most in many situations where and est should be used. For example, every time I hear or see more proud or more healthy, it's like fingernails on a chalkboard to me. I'm constantly correcting that in my head. Am I alone? Thank you in advance. He gets a little cocky here for what I'm sure will be your agreements. And actually, we do agree.
Yeah, I mean, the general rule, of course, is, I'm sure you know it, Fletcher, too, is you use ER, and est for one-syllable words. Oh, and you use more for and most for polysyllabic. But of course, we're in English, and there are a lot of exceptions to the rule. For example, if the two-syllable word ends in y, you can also add er and est. I think most happy versus happiest. It's funny. Most happy sounds sort of snooty. Happiest sounds fine to me. So
I can see going like, I'm most happy about that. Like you're doing it, with that edge.
Yeah, that has a slight edge to it to me too. But that's the general rule.
Funny. That's funny that you bring up happy specifically, and I know I'm going to take us off track just right away here, but I can see myself saying, like, I'm most happy when I'm sitting at a baseball game. And that's different a little bit from I'm happiest when I'm sitting at a baseball game.
You're right.
It is.
There is a difference. You're absolutely right.
What is the difference to you, Fletcher? That's interesting.
I'm trying to figure out if I can verbalize that. I don't honestly feel like that's hard. I'm not. I don't think I'm
But oddly enough, I think I was trying to do it myself because I was thinking, wow, Fletcher, you're right. And then I tried to figure it out. But I definitely feel, and I can't articulate it, difference between I'm most happy when at the baseball game, I'm happiest at baseball games. I think there's a difference.
Okay, wait, I'm trying to figure it out because I think most happy means I'm happy. And when I'm at a baseball game, I'm at the most. I'm at my happiest. Never mind.
I know. I think we should move along.
I just want to say though one thing that I want to clarify: the one syllable, two syllables is not really a rule; it's a convention.
I think we should. Because I mean we have to do, and there are a lot of exceptions. I mean, this is the goodest show I've ever seen. Good.
Yeah.
You know, real rightest.
Yeah, my daughter had a sore throat the other day, and I asked her how she was feeling the next day, and she said it's a little gooder.
Yeah,
I mean, whatever. She's 4 and she's learning, but
that's so interesting. I still love that how kids take the convention or the rule. I mean, we shouldn't say rule anyway. It's always convention, but they take that idea and then they apply it, and then they learn the exceptions. So I mean. We're going to hear later she's getting rid of gooder and being, better or whatever. But moving right along, what?
Just to address this really quickly, I think a lot of it is that people know there are certain circumstances in which you use the ER, and there are others when you're supposed to say more. And people don't know for sure which is which all the time.
I think you're right.
I think that's why sometimes you're hearing them say more when they should use ER, because they're not sure and they are trying to hedge their bets. I think that.
Like we've said that with myself, when people say myself instead of me or I. Yeah. I also do think, going back to like last week's talking about pretension, I also think there is a tendency nowadays for people to want to sound formal for whatever reason. And I think the more sounds a little more formal somehow. It sounds a little more, hotsy-totsy, no?
Oh, it might be also because they don't want to make a mistake a la Gooder. They're slightly nervous about making an error, and then therefore it's easy just to say more, because like myself, more can be easily understood and it doesn't seem wrong in any usage, even though certain people do object to it. So I think it's also that.
I think that's just what it is.
Yeah. Interestingly, from what I'm reading, that more and most were around from the beginning. It wasn't until the 1200s that they were being used as modifiers. And then it was constantly used. It was like more and most were more common in many cases than ER and EST.
EST.
And then as time, we even were one syllable words, and then it just kept changing. So it's just one of those things. And then, interestingly enough, from what I'm reading, one history of English was talking about how in the beginning a lot of 3-syllable words were using ER and EST. So it's just been a mishmash from the get-go, is all I'm saying.
Which is so typical of English.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to mention something else just quickly. Again, I was watching Ghost the other day, and the film with Patrick Swayze.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's sort of it's a fun film. It aged well, at least for me. But anyway, Demi Moore, she says, "I love you." And he answers ditto. And he's always answering ditto, which is like a basic theme in the whole film. And I wondered suddenly, where does ditto come from? Do we use ditto nowadays? And all of that. I just started wondering a lot. I don't really say ditto very much at all. I mean, do you? Anyone?
I do.
Do you?
Yeah.
You do?
I never have. No.
I think for me, I've always been slangy. So.
Yeah. Well, I remember, and I think this might be part of why I never used it. I remember it being very popular with Rush Limbaugh.
Really? I haven't heard Rush Limbaugh at all. So.
I think you're right. Ditto heads. I forgot that. Yeah.
Anyway, very briefly, I wonder where it came from. I figured it came from Latin via Italian, to say. But Kath, you want to weigh on? I asked you. I wasn't sure, but I figured that, and Kathy did a little research for it.
What I liked is it first came into the language in the 17th century, and it meant in or of the month already named. So it wasn't just like a repetition. It was specifically the month they're talking about.
Oh, I see. Like the 20th of June. So
if you'd read the 20th of June, you'd say 25th ditto, 17th ditto. It's kind of like opposite, or all those things that we used to have to do in Ibid. Remember that in footnotes?
Yes, I do.
Which I don't know anymore at all. So.
Wow.
And then it became both an adverb meaning the same and a verb, you would say, and that was in the 1700s. First, it was like just the month. Then later on, in the later 17th century, it was ditto to avoid writing the same word again. So because you're busy inscribing everything, you just write ditto. And then it became an adverb and a verb. I dittoed what he said.
Oh, wow.
But it's interesting, though. It does come from the Italian dialect variant of detto, meaning said, already said.
Yeah, I should have said that. So it is
Ibid.
Sorry.
In effect, it's Ibid then in that sense.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. But this leads us to today's topic. Where did it come from? Could you guess the origins of these words, Fletcher? And we're going to start with something that...
Can I start now? Latin.
Okay. Well, here we go, Fletcher. The word is, and it's very close to ditto, it's fiasco. What's the origin of fiasco?
Fiasco does sound Italian.
Okay, sorry. It comes from the Italian city of Fiasci in the Dolomites, famous for its frequent earthquakes. From the Latin fascis, a bundle or of rods with a projected axe. 3, a glass bottle, or actually the word being the Latin first person, to make a bottle.
Oh, wow. Well, the second one is where fascism comes from. I don't think that's the same as fiasco.
Well, well, maybe so.
I mean, I'm not saying that was not a comment on fascism one way or the other. I just don't assume they both come from the same word. I also don't believe the one about the Italian city, although as you heard, I said Italian right away. So I guess I'll go with the glass bottle, but I'm not sure the connection here.
Wow, that's really good, Fletcher. And apparently, this is a theory. No one's sure. But Venetian glassmakers, when they realized that a piece of glass that they were making had flaws, they would set aside the imperfect glass and turn it into an ordinary bottle. And they called that a fiasco.
Oh.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, it is. That's cute. Yeah.
So it's like basically a blown up bottle.
Boy, look at this lousy bottle. It's a fiasco.
I know. It's a fiasco.
Okay. Word number 2. Quarantine. Did it come, 1, directly from 2 Latin words, for, quator, and tinus, meaning gift of God or specified by God, referring to religious and later civil penalties and the duration of a detention. 2, from the Latin, there's a theme here, for que, Ross, or is that qua? Qua, by what, and re, by what means, a legal term referring to legal government making people wait before entering the country. 3, from the Latin, quadraginta, Ross, for 40, referring to 40 days of waiting.
That is the one that I would have chosen before you gave me any options. I would have assumed, I mean, I know in French 40 is like 40, and so I would have thought it had something to do with the period of time that you had to wait. So I'll go with that last one.
You're 2 for 2.
Fletcher.
2 for 2. It came this in the 1660s. The period a ship suspected of carrying disease was kept in isolation. From the Italian 40 giorni, a space of 40 days. That was the perfect pronunciation.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Okay, so Fletcher's doing good. Oh, I should have added, incidentally, with the glass bottle, it's Italian dialect for flasca, which is obviously flask, bottle.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Moving to tragedy. Now, the origin of tragedy, from the Latin trajectus, J and I being interchangeable, so trajectus or trajectus, in many Latin words, thrown over or across. Past participle of tracere, throw across, i.e. throw away hope. From an ancient Greek word for goat, for the ancient Greek word for trigoderia, a type of sweetmeat eaten while watching ancient Greek plays.
Oh boy. I'm just gonna have to pick one. So let's go with the goat. You always go with the goat.
Darn it, Fletcher! You're getting it again. Kathy, I'm quitting the show right now. We're done.
High dudgeon time.
Yes, it is. It's goat song, actually. Tragos is goat, and then the oide is song. So it's basically a goat song is called. And the question, therefore, like, why is it goat song? People dressed up as goats and satyrs in plays. And then there were other theories saying people were sacrificing goats before they watched the play or after they watched the play. The key idea is goats are in tragedy.
For some reason.
Yeah.
Not sheep, not cows, but goats.
Huh. Wow.
You're doing great, Fletcher. We got to get him.
Okay, let's get him on this one.
The
word is shambles. We hope you make a shambles of this one. Did that come from sham, meaning counterfeit or fake, stemming from a Northern English dialect variant of shame, or the Arabic word shama for covering? It was intended to deceive or create a false impression. From the Old English word scammel, meaning
Schammel.
footstool.
Sorry,
Schammel.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I saw a C and thought it was a
but
hard
it's pronounced
C.
I
did not know.
C. Okay.
Meaning footstool, which evolved into an area to butchery and then a mess, because you're butchering on this thing.
Mhm.
From the Middle English shame, from shamu, from Proto-Germanic skamu, meaning shame, hence a shameful mess.
Boy.
So we got a counterfeit or fake from a covering.
Yeah.
We got a
Mhm.
footstool. We got a shameful mess.
Yes, we do. And my answer, I'm sure, will be a shameful mess. However, I don't think I'm going to choose a shameful mess. For some reason, when you said Arabic, it was really attractive to me, even though I don't really like the counterfeit or sham or scam thing. But I'm going to go with that one, with the covering.
Got him.
Good work, Ross.
Thanks,
it is
Jack.
from the footstool.
Oh, okay.
Well, actually, because it was a figurative footstool, and it was
Sure.
it was the bench or a stall in a market on which goods were exposed for sale, and then they were like, so it's a meat or a fish market. So it was the.
How did it get here? How did
it
get
it began as a stool or bench, and then it was borrowed in Proto-Germanic from the Latin, meaning the low stool, which meant then just a stool, and then it was a bench or a stool on which the goods were displayed in the market. Then it was the market, on which you had your meats and your fish that were being gutted, and
basically it's a mess.
Yeah,
all these animal parts all over the place. It's just a big mess. That's what it came from.
It's in shambles.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. It's interesting because, and I know this is a kind of a British thing, but you said at the very beginning something about it is a shambles, which is not really a phrase that we use in the U.S. I mean, I pretty much only hear it as in shambles. Like, that's the only time I hear shambles. But the British seem to use it in a little bit of a different way. I mean, like, it means the same thing, but like it's a shambles, you know.
That's interesting, Fletcher.
I didn't notice I said that. Yeah. Huh.
I would say it's a shambles. Kathy, wouldn't you say it's a shambles? I would say a.
It's a shambles.
Yeah, I wonder if it's from British books we read as kids. Because I would say
in
definitely
shambles. I think I would say
I would say it's in a shambles. Actually, I think.
Well, again, right, in a shambles. Yeah,
in a shambles.
Which is not really what if we use the word shambles in the U.S. At least when I ever hear it.
And
I'm not representative of the entire U.S., but whatever. I only hear in shambles.
No, see, I would say in a shambles. What about you, Kathy?
I don't even know anymore. I'm trying to think. And now suddenly I'm thinking I've never used it in my life and I don't even know what it means. I honestly don't know. Do I say a shambles? I think I say a shambles. I don't say in a shambles.
I would say, boy, your house is in a shambles, Kathy. It isn't, but I'm just saying I might say that if it were.
Thank you.
Yes.
Parts of it are, Ross. But we don't discuss that.
Okay, this is another word.
In a shambles. Yeah, I think I say in a shambles. Yeah.
You don't say in shambles, you say in a shambles, don't you?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Now, this is another word we're going to do. Kathy says endive. Endive, I say. Kathy says endive, apparently.
I do.
Okay, the origin of the vegetable. Or the word for the vegetable. From the 1200s, diwen, to descend or plunge headfirst into water. From a merger of the Old English duvan, to dive, duck, or sink. And then, or defan, to dip, submerge, i.e. it's a vegetable grown in wet soil. From the ancient Egyptian town of Tibi, where endives were grown in the wet soil of the Nile. From the Latin en, meaning in, and divus, and the V, but pronounced divus, meaning divine figure, referring to the religious significance of the vegetable as used to accompany charred meat from sacrificial animals. 1, descend or plunge. 2, Tibia town. 3, in a divine figure.
So here's my thought process. The most attractive like definition is the one about descending or plunging, but I always assumed it was from French, and the easiest way to get to French is through Latin, and so I'll go with the Latin one, even though the definition is not very interesting to me as far as the answer goes.
Well, Fletcher, your logic, which is usually impeccable, in this case wasn't. It comes apparently, no
we
one's
got two
sure.
in a row, Ross. Two in a row.
I know, we got it, Kat. It apparently comes from believe it or not, the ancient Egyptian town of Tibi.
Oh, okay.
Where they were grown in the wet soil.
Wrong.
I know, it does. That one, I loved when we found that. I just loved that definition because I thought, it just sounds completely fake to me too. But apparently it's an ancient Egyptian word. And that came into the French. Probably my gut feeling would be when Napoleon took it over, when he conquered Egypt. I don't know.
Ross, can you explain though how we got endive or endive from Tibi?
Yeah, that's what I don't know.
Kathy, why don't you do that?
Because they say that it came from the ancient Greek entubon got changed into endiva.
Yes.
And the entubon probably came from Tibi, which was the ancient Egyptian month, January.
Which is the Nile flood month, probably.
Right, which was when the Nile flood receded and they could grow the endives.
They could grow the stuff in the wet soil. Yes.
Cool.
That's good.
That's pretty cool.
That's really, so it isn't.
It's really roundabout. That's
earlier.
That's really how would one get Tibi?
Oh, sure.
You would not.
Although we should do a thing on like ancient Egyptian words, because we have a few in English.
Yeah,
not
we
too
do.
Many, but there are a few. Yeah.
The next word is bunk, as in that's a lot of bunk. 1, originated from the name of the hometown of a loquacious U.S. congressman, the town being Buncombe. Buncombe. 2, originally Old Swedish, bonke, boards used to protect the cargo of the ship, later used to mean like it's as useless as bonke on an empty ship. Bonke. 3, from bunco, spelled B-U-N-C-O, but also B-U-N-K-O, a confidence swindle that possibly came from the Italian word banco, meaning bank. Bunco, a bunco swindle.
I right when you said bunk, I thought of bunco, but for 2 reasons, I felt good about this being just straight up American, and I also think I've read somewhere that it is from the town of the congressman. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Yeah.
Buncombe. Yeah. Yes. So I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
It was Congressman Felix Walker from Buncombe, North Carolina.
Yes.
He talked at length. It's originated in 1820. He talked at length about whether Missouri should be admitted to the Union as a free state or a slave state. So politicians adopted the phrase talking from Buncombe. And that was shortened to Buncombe, B-U-K-U-M, and finally to Bunk by humorist George Ade, who wrote in his 1900 book, History is More or Less Bunk. I like that.
I know too. I'm upset that Fletcher didn't get. I really was proud of these, Catherine, these 2 derivations.
Oh, they weren't bad at all. They weren't bad at all. I do think I've read that somewhere. And also, as soon as you said bunk, I thought, American.
Yeah. Okay, the next one's sort of a weird one. Sine, S-I-N-E, as in sine, cosine, sine wave, which, is the ratio of the side of an angle opposite, whatever, the hypotenuse crud.
Yeah.
Okay. Sine comes from the Latin sinus or sinus, fold, which also came into English as the sinuses in our head. 2, from sinew, cord, or thread, used in medieval times for measuring angles. 3, from Sinope, an ancient Greek colony where Pythagoras developed his mathematical skills.
That's cute, but I don't think that's it. I just assumed it was Latin, so I'm going to go with sinus.
Fletcher, you're doing it again. Yes, you're right. This is, though, I'm going to throw this one out. This is really interesting because this derivation is actually based on a mistake. The Arabic word was jibba, which is the cord of an arc or a sign, which they took from the Sanskrit jia, bowstring. But it was confused with another Arabic word when the Greeks took it up, jaib, which is a bundle or a fold in the garment. And then from the Greeks and the Latin, when the Latins took it up, I mean, and then from there it became in the jaib basically was translated into sinus, which is a fold in a garment. And then sinus, the fold in a garment, obviously talks about holes in our head, which are sinuses. And then from there it came into the regular word. So it's all based upon a mistake, which is interesting,
Funny.
which is very common, those false etymologies.
I have a question apropos of, here I go with apropos of,
Yes.
sorry, last week is now, if I were British, would I pronounce it Pythagoras or Pythagoras?
Oh, Kathy. Well, it'd be Pythagoras because it's a PY.
Oh, that's true. Sorry.
Pythagoras or Pythagoras.
Okay, never mind. Sorry. The next word is porcelain. Porcelain. Is it from the Italian word for little pig, which porcelain bows resembled, possibly because of the curved back on the little piglets? 2, from the French town of Porcelain, famous for its wool making. The town's name was first used for fine woolen goods, but it was also where craftspeople first copied Chinese porcelain, and that name was later transferred from fine wool to the fine china. 3, from an early transliteration of the Chinese city near modern-day Shanghai, Pokelan, where the Chinese exported their wares. Oh, we have 4 on this
one. I put 4 here. I wasn't thinking.
Ross, you overachiever.
I know.
4, from the Greek word bursa, translated to the Latin persa, where it came into medieval French when combined with laine, literally referred to small lane, literally referred to small woolen and cloth purses, then to the protective covering of fine pottery, transferred then to the pottery itself.
Fun. Those are all good. 2 things. One is that before you gave me anything, I just assumed it was a transliteration of Chinese. So I'm going to go with that. But I very much regret that I am not choosing the little pig, because in every other circumstance, I would choose the little pig.
And you should have chosen the little pig.
Good. I'm happy that was it.
Yep, it is little pig. Yep.
Okay, so what's the Italian phrase? Porcella,
a young sow, feminine of the Latin porcellos, young pig. Yeah, because we have porchetta. Randy makes a nice porchetta, which is a pork grilled pork thing. It's very tasty. I don't see porcelain, though. It's funny. I mean, that's very evocative, but the porcelain bowls don't really remind me of the curved back of a piglet.
Interesting enough, there's basically a derivation, though. The one thing is that it probably first came from the little piglets looking like cowrie shells. And cowrie shells, which were called, little pigs in Italian. And cowrie shells, you've seen them. I mean, they're really shiny and all that. They're really shiny. And if we got them when I was at the Red Sea and stuff, and they're like, I mean, they really stand out, and they're shiny like porcelain. So I think it's really kind of like it was sort of a cheaty thing, because it basically came from. First, they look at these little porcelain, porcellas in Latin, which they look at, and they look at these little shells, and then they go from there to the pig, and then they go from the pig. But then first the pig looks like a thing, and then from there it goes porcelain shell, then it goes into the porcelain, pottery.
Okay.
One thing I wanted to say quickly. I'm so glad you chose. I really feel happy that you chose the Chinese city. Most of these derivations are like based upon real ideas. I couldn't get a decent Chinese city, so I made up Pokelan completely. I never heard of
Good work, Ross.
Wow. You really made my day today.
Wow.
I'm going to talk about the Chinese city of Pokelan from now on.
Good work.
Average, now meaning 1, damaged goods, possibly from the Arabic awariya. 2, from verge, meaning rod or staff, from the Latin virga, a symbol of authority. Thus, to be within the range of such authority was to be within the verge, hence to Old French, verge. From the German Wehrgeld, a sum of money paid to a family or person for a life, especially to a Germanic, according to Germanic law, according to Merriam-Webster, and from there referring to the average amount of money. 1, damaged goods. 2, verge rod. 3, Wehrgeld.
I like Verigold, though it sounds. I love German when it goes
I do
that
too. It sounds
Wehrgeld.
cool. I agree with you.
Mm.
The Latin into the French.
Oh,
No,
Fletcher.
Fletcher,
No,
Fletcher,
good.
we're hitting you.
And you're
here.
usually far above average.
Yeah.
This is an interesting one again. How the Arabic, it actually came from the Arabic, and the Arabic basically it started out as a small charge over freight costs payable for financial damages. Then from there it came into the French avarie, damage to a ship, then Italian avaria, and then from there Spanish avaria, and then it came into the Romance languages. And it says, quote, the OED, few words have received more etymological investigation. And they say, thus, when the safety of a ship in distress, any destruction of property is incurred, either by cutting away the mast, etc., it is basically a proportionate value should be paid. And then they came equal sharing of this loss by the interested parties. And then from there, it came into equal sharing and average, the average mean proportion. Really interesting, I think.
That is really interesting. It sounds a tiny, tiny bit familiar now that you read all that out. I mean, not all of that, certainly, but
what gets me is that the whole mathematical concept of average didn't come into being until the mid 1700s, which is a long time when you think about average being used as a very specific thing about maritime.
That one really bothered me, that sense, because the sense of average, like being, you adding stuff, the average age of this family is, I just can't believe that's true. Do you know what I mean? I mean,
I'm looking right now at the OED because it bothers me too. Yeah, it's all shipment of goods. It's all damage.
Oh, that I believe.
Distribution. The mathematical, the final one is 17. They have it as 1770.
Oh, but the word. Oh, but what we're saying, the word became the word. That's where the word got in. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The concept of an average.
The concept
is they probably used like 89 words for it, though. They didn't have like average.
Actually,
they'd go on and on, and you're like, all right.
I'm going to look it up. I'm looking it up right now. I want to see. I don't really know. I don't read mathematical texts in Latin. I'm just curious what they're going to say.
Split back when I was in college, and that from then on, I was a happy woman. So
let me just see what average is. UVW average.
What are you looking up?
I'm looking up Latin average from Latin English. They don't even have it in the Latin English dictionary right here.
There you have it. Because they use like a bunch of different words, all like strung together, and you go like, all right, you got it.
But I mean, like, what are you doing when like you're, like you're building the Colosseum and the guy goes, how much are you spending for these bricks? And he goes, well, the average about, what did he say? I don't know. I'm curious.
A fair amount, okay? Shut up and bring me the wine. Okay. The word is weird, which is what has been happening here of late. Which verb is weird related to? 1, to warp. 2, to turn. 3, to wiggle.
Oh, they all seem okay. There's some little thing in my head that says it's to turn, and I can't quite remember why, but for some reason I think that's what it is, to turn.
Is that your final answer?
That is my final answer.
You're right.
Okay.
However, had you chosen warp or turn, you also would have been right.
warp or wiggle, or warp,
turn, and wiggle.
Wiggle.
All three.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, this comes from a very early Proto-European, Proto-Indo-European word. And the idea, I mean, Kathy, you want to read? Let's just read some of the words it's also related to.
Adverse, anniversary,
avert,
awry,
controversy,
converge,
converse,
holy cow,
convert,
diverge,
divert,
evert.
I've never used evert, extroversion,
extrovert.
Okay, gator, introvert, invert, inward, etc., etc., etc.
Vertigo, vortex. You can't.
Oh
you
my
got them all.
Peevish. Yeah. I like peevish in there.
Oh, really? Peevish is related to weird too. Wow.
Yeah, it's from a very early word meaning basically to turn or to roll, and it's all over the place. It's also related to things like worm, because worms turn. So basically, you're getting everything in that one.
I just want to throw in that just I'm sorry, I'm going to be weird here. Do you guys know the difference between wiggle, W-I-G-G-L-E, and wriggle, W-R-I-G-G-L-E? I've always wondered. I just looked it up.
Well, wriggle is turning the body. And
right.
I just looked at, and then wiggle is a back and forth.
Yeah, exactly. I thought that wriggle and wiggle were the same thing. Just different spellings. I mean, one comes from Germanic, Middle English, wiggle without, it's related to cradle, and wriggle, which I pronounce wiggle, is Middle Low German. It means to turn or to twist.
The one question I have is, I know wriggle is related to weird. You said wiggle, and I'm curious, is wiggle related? Does it have the same thing or not? I was wondering if we were wrong.
I see, now that's because I pronounce wriggle, wiggle.
Okay, because actually, Kathy Fletcher, that's what I thought. When Kathy said wiggle, she should have said wiggle, because wiggle is related to wag, which is not that Proto-Indo-European word. So Fletcher, this
is how etymologies get fuzzy and muddy, you guys, is somebody pronounces something wrong and then tells everybody.
That would be me.
No,
I never said wriggle. Wriggle sounds very wrong. I always thought wriggle was wiggle with an R.
This is really fascinating, Kathy, because I mean, literally when we did it, I wrote down wriggle, and then Kathy said wiggle. I was like, wriggle, not wiggle.
No, I know, because I thought, it's got the R, but it's still pronounced wiggle. Well, when we were kids, remember the game Uncle Wiggly, I always said, but it had an R in it. Wrigley's, but I do say Wrigley's spearmint gum. Interesting.
But it was Uncle Wiggly.
It was Uncle Wrigley, wasn't it?
It was
the
Uncle
rabbit.
Wiggly.
He was a rabbit.
Yeah, but it's a W-I. It's not W-I.
Oh, he was on. Okay, well, I thought there was an R in it. I was a very busy child, so I was adding letters here and there. It was very weird.
But it is interesting what Fletcher said. Herein lies the problem. We had, with sinus earlier. Herein lies like a problem of, mishearing things, and we go on with it. It's really interesting.
I never have said wriggle in my life.
I know, it's so interesting.
Today I am a woman. I don't
know. That's a great way to end. Let's wriggle our way out.
Yeah, really.
You're Saying It Wrong is part of the NPR network and is produced in the studios of KMUW in Wichita, Kansas by me, Fletcher Powell. Kathy Petrus records from her home in Armia, Spain, Ross Petrus from his home in Toronto, Ontario in Canada. Torrin Anderson composed our theme music, and our digital team is Beth Golay and Carly Cooper. You can find all of our past episodes by subscribing to the You're Saying It Wrong podcast wherever you get your podcasts, or by visiting us at kmuw.org. If you have a question for Kathy and Ross, if you'd like to suggest a topic, or you just want to reach out, you can email me at powell@kmuw.org or email them at kandrpetrus@gmail.com. You can also email us a voice memo of you asking your question. You might get your voice heard on air. If you'd like to do the same thing by downloading the KMUW app, you can do that and just click the Talk to Us button. You can find all of Kathy and Ross's books pretty much anywhere you get books, and a handful of them are also available on audiobook, read by the authors themselves. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week.